Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video we're taking a look at the Kolink Umbra Void 360 ARGB. This is a 360mm AIO cooler designed for cooling high-end processors on both the Intel and AMD side of things, and has actually a lot of socket compatibility with some slightly older motherboards as well, and comes in at a pretty decent price at the moment at overclockers.co.uk. This is currently retailing for £86.99, including shipping, and it's got all the usual stuff that you'd expect to see on a modern water cooler, such as RGB up the wazoo. Now, when it comes to sizing of this, if you're thinking, well, will it actually fit inside my rig? The radiator itself measures in at 394mm by 120mm by 27mm thick. The radiator is made of aluminium. There's also 395mm tubes on there to go between the radiator and the pump head, and all of that is encased in a nice braiding over those rubber pipes. The fans on this thing are actually something quite special. So these are the new Kolink Umbra Void ARGB fans. These have a static pressure of up to 3.9mm H2O, which is pretty darn impressive. They also have a rotational speed of up to 2200 RPM and have a rated sound level of 30 dB. The pump on here is new and improved and is now using ceramic bearings and all that kind of good stuff to keep noise levels down and also to keep reliability levels right up there. It does come with a 3-year warranty and also 2600 RPM for the pump, which is actually quite low in terms of modern pumps. A lot of them tend to rev up very high, but that can introduce some of those high-pitched whining noises, so hopefully it won't be doing that. We will find out later on in this installation and review and see how well it actually does. So let's go through quickly, do the unboxing stuff, get that out of the way, and then we can head on into the benchmarks. So in terms of the unboxing experience, nice retail packaging as you'd expect. This is pretty nice looking. Lots of colour on here. Also says what it supports. So in terms of RGB, you've got no custom cabling or anything. It's the normal 3-pin 5V addressable RGB with loads of pass-throughs, so you can daisy chain all this stuff up together, and it supports all of the manufacturers down there and possibly more as well, as long as they're using that standard 3-pin 5V addressable RGB header. On the side of the box, it says more about the infinity mirror effect on the pump head, the efficient heat dissipation, and also the fact that the pump head has a 360-degree rotating CPU head, so you can make sure that the logo looks the right way up, regardless of how you mount it. On the back of the box, you've got an exploded view of the actual pump itself and also some more features and specifications, so I'll give you some close-ups of those. So with that out of the way, let's take a look and see what we actually get. So you get obviously the radiator itself, so 360mm radiator. If for some reason the 360 isn't quite up your street and you want something a little bit smaller, there is also a 240 and a 120 available. Obviously, I'll leave some links in the video description for prices, etc, etc. So the actual radiator, yep, no problems there. Standard sizes, width, all that kind of good stuff. Nice tubes on here, nicely braided as well for protection. Also, when it comes to the pump head, you've got some nice swivel joints on there, so you can move it around to fit however you're going to install it into your computer. You've also got this actual mirror section here. This rotates, so you can turn that around so it looks right no matter which way up it's facing. And also there's some nice accenting around the outside edge there to maybe dissipate a little bit of light. Connectivity wise, as we said, 3-pin addressable RGB, no problems there. And also, something slightly unusual is there is actually a PWM connection for the pump rather than your usual DC, which is a nice thing to see, a little bit more control, and generally you get less of that kind of revving up and revving down of the actual pump. The base plate itself is designed to accommodate most modern processors, including ones which have slightly elongated sections to them, such as the modern LGA 1700 sockets from Intel. Something I did notice as well, which is actually quite handy, which may benefit some of you, maybe not, the fact that the screws actually holding in the copper base plate there are Torx ones rather than being security screws. So if you do need to at some point do any form of maintenance on it after your 3-year warranty, then you can take it apart pretty easily. There is also a drain plug at the top there with a screw in, so you can always add fluid in there should you ever need to. When it comes to the fans, we get these, which are the new Kolink Void SP, SP standing for static pressure, and of which they do seem to have some particularly good static pressure, 3.9mm H2O, which actually to me seems extremely high, so we'll be interested to see how well these do. 120mm fans, you've got some RGB going through the opaque section there. You've also got a peel off there for the mirror infinity effect. And also something which I quite like to see is a little bit of bleed through for the lighting on the side. So when you've got your radiator mounted up in the top of your case, you're still going to get a little bit of light showing through the sides. When it comes to connectivity, you've got some nice long cables on here, both of which that have pass-throughs. So 4-pin PWM and a pass-through, and also 3-pin 5V addressable RGB and also a pass-through. So now we can take a look at the accessories and fitting kits, and this is actually a pretty decent setup here. So there is a 3-in-1 PWM header, which you don't really need because these do daisy chain anyway, but it's nice that it's been added in there. If you've got a header which is in a particularly awkward place to get to, it will give you a nice little bit of extra length. There's also a full instruction manual telling you how everything all goes together. Very easy, very concise, very straightforward. You also get included all the bits you need to obviously install it, which are all labeled up really, really nicely. So this one, as you can tell, even with my eyesight, this is for the Intel 2011 socket. You've also then got other things which aren't always marked up. So these are the thumb screws, nice big knurled thumb screws for attaching the pump to the actual brackets. Everything else is pretty much marked up. So you've got your fan screws there marked up with fan in big letters. I do appreciate that a lot. You've also got your AMD bag. And also you've got your Intel 115X 1700 and 1200 mountings there. You've got some radiator screws to attach the radiator to your case. 2 brackets, one for Intel, one for AMD. So this is the Intel one, this is the AMD one. Nice and easy to do, these just lock on. For Intel users, you'll want to use this back plate, which is a common thing amongst Intel processors. And on the back, it does show you very clearly which setting. There's 3 positions, and it shows you which one they need to be in for your specific processor. So just pull those into the correct position and they click into place. Happy days. There's also a foam section on the back, so that is to protect, and it goes, basically sticks on in there. Would have liked to have seen a better solution for this really, because if you stick this on one motherboard, then if you ever want to swap over, that is a little bit difficult to transfer to another PC, but still not the end of the world. What is actually quite cool as well is they've included some thermal paste, and the thermal paste does appear to have some quite decent specs. They maintain it will actually transfer 13 or over 13 watts per meter Kelvin with this thermal paste. So I'm interested to try this out and see how well it actually does. So I think that's pretty much it for the accessories and installation parts. Let's get this thing installed and do some testing and see how well it does against the 13900K, and we'll be back as soon as we've done it. Okay, so the installation has gone ahead and I'm actually very impressed. It's done a particularly good job. I think we should first of all talk about the installation process. Installation, very straightforward. Nice long cables, nice and easy to route through the back of the case to connect it all up. If anything, there's probably too much cabling, but if you are using a slightly larger case, you are going to find that an absolute godsend. Potentially you don't need to use the 3-to-1 adapter, as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video. You can just wire the connector straight up to various points in the motherboard if you want to, or combine them all with that daisy chain feature. There does seem to be quite a lot of wiring there to manage, so if you are looking at a smaller case, then do take that into consideration. It is going to require a little bit more careful consideration when you're routing your cables. But when it's all done and dusted, it all looks very, very nice indeed, as you've probably seen for some B-roll already. It looks fantastic, and those new fans do seem to do an incredible job. I wasn't kind of totally on board with it. Sometimes, if you're completely honest, when you think of some brands, Kolink is one of those brands that you don't always think of as being like pushing the boundaries of what is actually on the market. They generally tend to do what is normally cost-effective equipment that works perfectly well, but you don't expect anything outstanding. And today actually it's done a fantastic job, which we'll see later on when we look at the temperatures and also the benchmarks. So overall, installation's absolutely fine. The actual tubing on this and the way they've braided it works very, very nice. I managed to get a really, really nice curl going on those pipes. I did do it the opposite way than what I normally do. Normally do the pipes towards the front, but I've done it pipes towards the back. And yeah, it's just got a really nice curl going around, as you've probably seen from some of the B-roll. Very pleased with that. Sometimes when I install AIOs and the pipes just snag or just don't look quite right, or they don't look very uniform, whereas this I think looks absolutely brilliant. Let me know what you think in the comment section. One other very slight nitpick which I would make is the fact that the RGB lighting isn't entirely uniform between the fans and actually the pump head itself. If you look at one of the B-roll sections I've done here, where I've set it to the white RGB or white lighting, you can see that there's a slightly yellower light around the pump head than the kind of more bluey white which we're getting from the actual fans themselves. So if you are an absolute purist and you do want your whites to be absolutely white, then unfortunately you are going to be a little bit let down by this. It's not a huge deal. Whites are one of those colours which are really, really hard to kind of get all of your RGBs the same tone of white anyway, but I just wanted to point it out just in case anybody is interested in what that is like. All the colours themselves, when it's actually in unicorn puke mode or any of the other colours, look great, fine, vibrant, all that kind of stuff. And actually the infinity effect does work particularly well on the fans and also on the pump head itself. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let's take a look at the actual results and see how well it did. Let's take a look now, first of all, at the lowest recorded temperatures. Now this is comparison with the thermal take cooler, an in-win one we did very recently, and of course the Kolink Umbra Void. So looking at the lowest recorded temperatures, now we've got an actual really good result there for the Kolink here. 28 degrees Celsius is the lowest recorded temperature. Realistically, all three of them have done really well and they're all very similar. So we've got 30 degrees, 31 degrees and 28 degrees. Again, depending on what's running in the background, your version of Windows, etc., they could be very similar. When it comes to the highest recorded temperatures, again, this is with the Intel 13900K, and this is running the Cinebench R23 stress test. I'll let this run for 5 minutes to try and get to an equilibrium, which it does quite quickly because it's a rather toasty processor. Now, for those that are interested, I have unleashed all the PL2 limits, so it's potentially using up to, I think it's 4096 watts or whatever. So yeah, it just runs free. We actually did see peaks on here of about 352 watts, I believe it was. And again, the Kolink's done a particularly good job here. It hasn't been the best, but it certainly has come very, very close. So the thermal take does take the win there. The thermal take tough liquid 360, 94 degrees Celsius. Next is going to be the Kolink Umbra Void at 95 degrees Celsius. And then last of all, we have the in-win MR36 at 97 degrees Celsius. Now realistically, not a lot of that really makes a great deal of difference. Temperatures can be up or down. What actually means the difference is actually performance numbers. And this is where it gets really interesting again. So let's take a look at the actual Cinebench result. So as you can see, there's actually quite a big gap there, which is, again, very impressive. Whether or not it's down to this new thermal paste that Kolink have included, I have used that because this is going to be the kind of out-of-box experience. On the previous two, I did use Arctic MX6 on both of them. So MX6 is generally deemed as being a pretty decent paste, but it does appear that there is something here giving it a little bit extra gas in the tank, so to speak. So in bottom place, we have the Thermal Take TH360 V2 at 35,997 points. Then we have the in-win MR36 ARGB with a score of 36,338 points. But striking out into the lead, we have got the Kolink Umbra Void with 37,551 points. Now again, like I said, take these with somewhat of a pinch of salt. You could probably run these tests numerous times and they would kind of trade places a little bit anyway, depending what's running on the background. All that kind of stuff is very hard to mitigate for that sort of thing. But I think this does give you some idea of the performance levels that you could achieve. And when you take into consideration the actual price of this at the moment, so this is retailing at the moment on overclockers.co.uk for £87.99, and that comes with free shipping as well. So I think that's actually a pretty decent price. This isn't actually an offer price, this is just the retail price. So I think that's actually really good. It'd be interesting to see if they do any reductions on this to see how low it can actually go. So I think it's actually a very good performer. It looks very nice, relatively straightforward to install. Overall, I think it's done a fantastic job. The numbers speak for themselves. I am going to be planning on doing a complete test with around about 10 AIOs coming up. So if you want to see more and see how this does in a more scientific way when we're comparing it against others, and we're just going to do direct drop-in replacements on platforms to get some really good numbers, make sure you subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the ding-a-ling bell, and that way you'll be notified of future video releases. But I think that's going to pretty much wrap this one up. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with it. Kolink have done a fantastic job here, I feel. And if you're in the market for a 360, a 240 or a 120mm AIO, I think this should be one that's definitely on your list. So that wraps things up. I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.